All right, hey there. In this video, I'm gonna try to port over my Sanity tips that are currently in Twitter and my Notes app over to my website. So I'm gonna use Sanity itself to host the tips and then do a little bit of Next.js to render them in the front end. Hopefully that's gonna be quick and simple, but it can get complicated if I try to do something more complex than it needs. All right, so just to start out. Okay, so this is the thread where I'm putting every trick. So it's tips and tricks for Sanity.io. So as a starter, you can use now in Grok to get the current date and time. Then right now there are 10. By the end of April, I imagine there are going to be like 18 or something like that. So eventually it's gonna grow. Right now it's not super big, and that's ideal because then I can probably migrate all of them here in this stream. Okay, so I'm running Sanity in my personal Sanity setup. So I'm gonna open that here. Let me open Firefox 333. And right now I have like ideas and articles which I'm gonna remove, and external resources, and that's also I'm gonna add a new document type, a new database of Sanity tips, which I'm gonna generalize to just tips, and then later, if I need, I can expand that over to other like CSS or mindfulness or productivity, what have you. So I have my CMS folder here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and go full screen. Okay, so I have schemas. Then schemas, I have document. And in document, I have those that I showed. I'm gonna create a new one. I'm gonna call it just chip.js, and then Sanity schema to activate my snippet. My computer is really slow right now, so there's that. Okay, so it's a tip. The title is tip capitalized. It's a document. And then now we're going to do a bit of content modeling for that. So there is the main tip itself fits in a tweet. So that's going to be the thing that I'm going to display in cards in my website. I'm thinking maybe we can do credits as their own specialized entity. So in this case, Ryan Murray was the person who gave me this idea. So maybe instead of just putting it in the body of the tip, I could put his name as a credit line or something. So there's that. So right now, two fields, one of them being optional at the moment. We have media, so it could be a video, it could be images, and an array of those. Video, I'm still in doubt. I don't think I'm gonna cover them here because I could use like Mux, which has a very nice Sanity plugin, but then it's paid for, and I'm not sure I want to do that. I could host on YouTube, which would actually be interesting to also gain some traction outside of Twitter. So I might do that. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do YouTube embeds. I'm not gonna cover that just now. There are also like reference tweets. So in this case, I got this reference, and Twitter automatically just renders the card of the reference here. I could try to simulate that, but then just feel like it would be too much trouble. It's a different medium. I don't necessarily need to do every feature in Twitter here. For example, comments and likes. So yeah, I'm gonna just keep it simple for now. So I'm gonna do first an internal title to help me out, and that's a internal title. Let's put it optional because I'm not sure I'm gonna want to fill the internal titles for all tips. Then the Sanity well, it's sanity field, and then I'm thinking maybe just calling it body, which is gonna be the body of the chip itself. So content of the chip itself, and this is gonna be an array. Well, actually, I may do idea body. Idea body is an object in this CMS that I have in this sanity installation that it picks up some other. Well, let me open that. It's gonna be simple. Body. It's get body, and then return. Well, let me just do this, and then later I can think about it. So I'm creating a new chip body, chip body that is a schema object, and I'm gonna use that here. So as you can see here, we have this get body function. It's just a factory function to render my schema because a lot of the things that we have here are reused. So get body takes a name, extra of as like extra inline blocks that I could have, extra types, and whether or not it should include a footnote. So in this case, the chip body should not include a footnote, so false. And then I could also customize like preventing headers from being available, just maybe just quotes and paragraphs. But for now, I think I'm good here. So yeah, now I have tip body, and that's mainly it. I think I'm gonna do a credit. Well, not yet, but eventually, if I do start crediting more and more people for their inspiration, right now it's only one among 10 tips, then I want to put that as its own field because it's going to help me say later on, out of 30 tips that I have, 15 of them were inspirations. They came from someone else. So that's interesting for me. That could be a filter state in the front end. I don't know. Also, that reminds me that I could credit a person in the database itself. So you see here, just 1 second because I did something wrong here. I shouldn't have overwritten article body. Okay, so what I was saying is that you could credit a person. So, for example, Ryan Murray could be an author. So let's try refreshing this. He could be an author in my database, so I could tag him in the tip, and then eventually I can start building like a knowledge graph of people that are related in my data set, which would be quite cool. So right now we have like external author, because I'm assuming as a personal blog, it's mostly everyone but me. Well, in this case, I had me. But yeah, like I have like Chris Collier and I don't know, Hannah Smith. And these people, they're related to external resources, but they could also be related to ideas, which are like my blog posts, or to tips. So again, it would build a network of connections between them. Now that I built the very basic schema, I'm gonna add it as a document to my index or my document / index code. And okay, I'm importing it and exporting because then in my schema.js, I'm importing every document and then spreading it, thread, tip, and others to the final schema in Sanity. I'm assuming you have some knowledge of Sanity. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. Okay, so now the last thing that I need to do is go to my desk structure. I'm gonna hide the article because I'm not using those anymore. And now I'm just gonna do tip. So tips and tricks. And I have not assigned an icon here. Maybe I could do FI brain or something like that. Well, I'm just gonna do a battery charging. I can later change that because I don't want you to lose time on that. But well, my computer is pretty slow. it's recompiling. What I expect is that by changing the task structure, which is the menu that I see, I'm gonna start seeing nice. Oh, there you go, tips and tricks. So now it's the folder. Now it's recompiling to pick up that battery charging icon that I selected. There you go. So tips and tricks. I think it's actually kind of decent. Could be just a zap, but the battery is okay. Now tips and tricks is an empty database kind of. So I'm gonna create a new one, and I'm gonna have this to the side here. Actually, I'm gonna start importing from my note-taking tool, which is Roam. I have this published list of tips. I'm not gonna explain this, but it's pretty cool. If you ever are curious about Roam and software development, I would love to talk about that. Second brain, all that good stuff. So in this case, what I want you to do is copy this. Well, I'm gonna copy the text itself, and then let's do the internal title is using now generate dates. Now I'm gonna copy that over. Copy the example as well. Not what I was looking for. Okay. I realized that maybe what I could do is do Control Shift V. There you go. So this way I'm pasting without round formatting. So now it's kind of like a markdown. And in this case, let's add the code styling to now and publish time, which is something I can't do in Twitter. So there's an interesting thing here. Okay, so that's the idea. And then now I realized that I'm missing images and maybe code examples and the videos. So I'm gonna add a second array to a third field to my tip, which is gonna be, say, attachments. Okay, which is Twitter's name. Twitter API uses attachments as anything that you add to it besides the text itself of the tweet. So in this case, let's do its attachments, and so code, images, videos, and then it's gonna be of type code, of type image, which does need a not. So let's do fields, and then send a field alternative text, and then type is equals string. So what I'm doing is basically I'm adding a new array as a field for my tip that I can add as many attachments as I want. These attachments can be of type code, so a code block. It can be an image, and then image needs an alternative text. So in this case, let's do optional encourage, meaning I'm nudging my future self to fill in this alt text, but not requiring that. So it's different than, say, here we would do probably semi required to make sure that the content is. But for the image alt, it's not absolutely required, but I would like to do it. And then last thing could be to do YouTube embed, so then I can tackle this later. Okay, so now my CMS is gonna refresh my Sandy instance, and I should see attachments, which is compiling. Slow computer. I'm actually trying this new tool, which is, I think, really weighting my computer down. So in this case, again, it's attachments, and I just want to add a code block. So in this case, let's see, it's a grok, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, so it's a grok query. In this case, there we go, we have grok. Nice. Now copy here and paste. There you go. So this is the code example for that. I could add some previews to see the code itself here. Would be nice. Not well. Let's do that, and then I can start writing other tips as that goes. So let's see. Code. Then here preview. In the preview, prepare. So the title is gonna be the language. The subtitle is going to be the code itself, and media I'm not going to select. So basically what I'm doing is in order to display this attachment, the preview for it, I'm getting the title, which now is grok. I'm selecting that it's the language of this code block, and then the subtitle, which comes right below the title, should be the code itself, but maybe I missed the value of it. So attachments, code. I don't know why it didn't work. Maybe it's because the Sanity code block plugin is kind of moody and it doesn't allow me to override it, but we're good. And then to speed up things a little bit, I'm going to do live edit true, meaning I don't have drafts for tips because I'm going to publish them in Twitter first. So I don't really need to publish them. They can be live updated, which is what I'm doing for my ideas as well. Maybe I'm going to change that, but for tips, let me show you what I mean. So now you can see here we have published. Oh, I guess it didn't work very well for a non-published draft, but we're gonna get there. Okay, so now I'm gonna create a new tip. Again, I'm just gonna do a second one. The rest I'm gonna do off camera. So get these. So we are doing about fine-grained ordering in grok via conditionals. So you can see here I have never clicked publish, but yet this is not a draft. You can see the ID here. I just realized that live edited documents don't have a created that, which I didn't know, but I guess we're good there. Then attachments, I should probably open Twitter now. Well, it's just some code examples. So first one, let's copy the one I have here. So it's tickets. Maybe I could even assign like a label to these tickets or to these code examples to make it so later in the actual UI, they are easier to find. But again, not going to do that now. And then second example is types. Right, and as you can see, I got all the syntax highlighting, which I think it's a bit faulty for grok, probably because it's trying to use JavaScript. I'm not sure. But yeah, okay, so this is good. It's published. Actually, I'm gonna roll back the live edit just because of the error with this document. And then in the meantime, I'm going to create a new terminal. I'm gonna cd into the site folder, yarn dev to start my next process. And then I'm going to open here in the folder, close everything, site, pages, and then here I'm going to say sanity tips.tsx. Sanity tips is quite similar to tech articles. So let's do that. I'm not gonna render a tailored page for each tip, so I don't need to care about that just now. but let's rename this. So it's not articles route, it's sanity tips route, sanity tips data. Then rename this as tips. And then I'm gonna open. Well, right now each tip just has. I'm still thinking of how to structure that in the front end. Let's do a new components folder, new file, sanity tips, and then sanity tips.tsx. It's a React component, RFC maybe. Yeah. Sanity tips, props. It gets all the tips, which are of an interface sanity tip data, which takes in, and now that's where I would start modeling TypeScript or the front end according to what I have in schema. So right now I have body and attachments. So let's do body sanity block content, which is a type I defined, and also attachments, which it's an array of either sanity image or sanity code, maybe. Need that and create that. Script. Let's do code. So sanity image, export interface, sanity code block, and that as language, which is well. Let me open here. That's gonna make it easier. So inspect, and now I see I have type code. So let's do type code, and then language is a string, and then code is also a string. Here we go. So I'm gonna do them as optional. Save that. So sanity tips. Sorry about that. It's either sanity code block, sanity image, eventually YouTube as well. So maybe I can do YouTube embed. So that's sanity tip data. Now tips is an array of sanity tip data. Let's just receive tips. And then now I'm gonna base myself off another component I have, the idea garden. So let's just do this for now. Sanity IO tips and tricks. Advanced ideas and tricks on how to use Sanity IO to its best. This is just like the SEO description that is going to show in Google and stuff like that. I'm very happy to change this later. It sounds very pretentious. The header. Then section. Now I'm going to just copy that. I have in my idea garden. And now here, instead of props.ideas, I would get tips and tip. I still haven't built the tip tip card. I should do that. So let's do here tip card.tsx. Should probably it's not gonna be pretty. I'm just gonna focus on the MVP right now. So tip card, and then well, it's actually not tip card props. It just gets sanity tip data, which should be exported here. I can actually import it. Oh, Okay, and same thing here. Sanity data import from tips. It's right now it's just simple React, which is kind of convoluted by TypeScript. But okay, now I'm gonna get body and attachments. So if body length, so if I don't have body, return null. I don't care about rendering this tip. Otherwise, let's do portable text. Is that it? Or block content? Naming it article block content. Probably should find something better. But in this case, let's just do that. So blocks equals body. And I could do attachments. I could actually just drop attachments entirely and render that as part of body. So yeah, that's actually quite doable. I could do something like this. So let's blocks equals spread the body, and then as an MVP, spread attachments or an empty array if that doesn't exist. So then here I would say to do improve rendering of attachments. Let's say that. Okay, so that's the tip card. Then sanity chips coming back here. I could just render tip cards, and that is a spread of chip. And then it takes a key of tip dot. Let's. I know the order is not going to change because the front end is actually JS free. So let's just do tip, and then I as the index. Okay, now I'm gonna import the CSS from. Let's get the idea garden again. I'm gonna import CSS from it, and then later I can change it, of course. So import CSS from idea garden module.css. Sorry again. So yeah, idea garden actually, there you go. Now it'll be sanity, IO, tips, and tricks is the title. And the body content could be, just gonna copy and paste this. Before pushing it live, I'm gonna find something better. Now, this is all well and good, but if I didn't show the data fetching, then this would not make sense. So let's get this here. So again, I'm just copying the idea garden implementation. So sanity chip props, and then here sanity tips, the component. There we go. Now I can delete all of these, and I'm gonna fetch the grok query. So I want everything that is of a type tip. And right now, that's pretty much it. And then define body. Or I guess I could say count body is bigger than 0, so I have more than one paragraph in body. It's not a draft, and that's all. I don't have status for this or anything like that. So I'm gonna do a call s, which is like page at. Call s is just like try to get published at. If that doesn't exist, try to get created at. If that doesn't exist, try to get updated at. And then just realize that I should probably go into my idea schema and then copy the published at date to add to chips, because then this way I can start relating them to the tweet that I had. And also maybe I could do sanity feud. So tweet URL, which is type URL, sanity description, optional encourage. So I'm basically adding 2 new fields that are going to start enhancing the metadata of these tips, because I want to order them by published at, not by created at or updated at, because maybe sometimes I'm gonna create a new document for a secondary tip that takes a long time until it's published. So that's why I'm doing published at. So in this case, use now to generate dates. That was February 16th. Oh, it's been a while already. A month and a half. So Sandy's new date input is buggy. I didn't know that. Okay, so I'm hoping, there we go. So February 16th, then the tweet URL, get this one. Okay, so that. I'm gonna open the second one. And then this way, if I want, I can link from the tip in my website to Twitter. I'm not sure if there's a lot of value there, but then this is February 18th. I guess. Sorry about that. Let's do 2021 02 18. Then the tweet URL is here. Let's open that. Status. There we go. All right. So coming back to the front end, I now have the publish at field. So I'm doing this coalesce, which is basically like try to pick publish at. If that doesn't exist, try to pick created at. If that doesn't exist, try to pick updated at. And then order whatever resulting value of that, descending, meaning latest first. But in this case, I'm actually going to do ascending because I want to be a bit more loyal to the tweet thread. And then I'm going to get their body and attachments, each of them. And I guess I could even import the ID to use as keys and stuff like that. But I'm not going to do that here now. And I'm just going to rename this from articles to tips. This way you can come in here and remove that. There we go. So send tips. If I check, Next is running properly. So I expect now to go to localhost 3000, send it tips, and then hopefully I'm going to see it working. It's got to take some time. Okay, it's a bit buggy, the layout, but as you can see, it works. I can even see the code examples, the code snippets. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, so eventually I want to, of course, improve this. I don't know if I've ever seen that, but I'm just getting almost done with my Idea Garden and tech articles, and their cards are so much nicer. You know, we have sparkles and leaves. The Idea Garden even has like a warning sign and some leaves next to it. So yeah, I'm gonna get there with Sandy tips, but right now it's pretty decent. So the thing from this, that just to recap, the things that I think are most interesting is that this could be done faster if I wasn't streaming and burning my CPU like I am right now. And also how simple it is to spin up and iterate on a schema. So again, initially I forgot about the publish ads, tweet URL, and attachments, and then I just added them. And then later in the front end, or actually another nice thing talking about Sanity is that I created this get body function that already gets me where I want to be at in terms of the block content, while still allowing me to create a bunch of unique types for each sort of content. So again, the article body has a different set of schemas and allowances than the idea body, because the idea body can embed an internal document. The footnote body shouldn't include the footnotes because that wouldn't make sense. So this sort of flexibility is pretty cool. And also I showed very quickly the structure builder. So if you take a look here at my desk structure, it's pretty simple. I'm just saying that, in my menu, I want to have ideas and tips and tricks, then external resources in this order. Of course, you can go really, really, really deep. This doesn't cover not even like 2% of what you can do with the structure builder, but it's pretty cool. And then moving into the front end, it's crazy how easy it is, at least in my biased opinion of who has been doing this for a while, to query for data in the shape that you want. So in this case, I'm just getting body and attachments, then order it, making sure, the body has a count of at least 0. I could do, say, I want the publish that or the tweet URL to be defined, because then this way I could, so just to explain what I'm doing, defined tweet URL. This way, I would make sure that only tips that were already published in Twitter could be found in my website. So it's pretty like productive once you get the hang of it. And then you just await your client to fetch that and then return it to the front end, and then there you go. It's pretty fast. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. So this is a good start. I would now start styling, making sure these cards aren't like aligned to the center. Probably I'm gonna make them like 2 columns, so the code examples come to the right and the text to the left. Maybe number them. So this is tip number 1. Maybe I can do like I'm doing for ideas, and start adding tags. So I could tag each, like, so this is a grok chip, this is a schema chip, this is a front end chip, and then later you as a visitor, you could, I could build an UI so that you could filter them by tags. Right now, I'm happy with this. I don't need any filtering. And if I do, whenever I do, it's going to be a good opportunity to review these tips and see how my thought of them evolved over time. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy here, and I'd love to hear your thoughts if you have any, and hope this is helpful in any way. So bye bye.